Hi guys, well it's time once again for the Sunday night review of where we've been and where we're going. And once again, let's start with a quick look back at Unit 3. And the main topic there was a big one. It was leadership. And once again, 20 some odd people in the class, 20 some odd different views in leadership. And what I tried to do with you this week is see if we could get some situations where people could talk about how you viewed leadership at work and what effects does it have. Does it really have the effect that we think it does? To tell the truth, I do. I think leadership sets the tone for everything. Leadership is a key concept. As I said in my introduction last week, leadership is an overused and beaten up term. We have gone through it as scholars, as consultants, as just managers, students, whatever. We have used that term so much and given it so many different meanings that sometimes I think we just don't know what it's all about anymore. But I think you get to see in the terms of the quality context that leadership above all sets the tone for where we're going and how an organization is going to behave. And the big thing, and it was a theme I think in a lot of your discussions so far that I've seen, it's got to be a situation of do as I do, don't do as I say. Because a lot of us, I think, have seen that where a person in a position of authority is not necessarily a leader. One of the things I hoped we illustrated in some of the readings and some of the ways we talked about it this week is there's a difference between a manager and a leader. And just managing things well doesn't mean you're showing any leadership. Showing leadership can come from the bottom as well as from the top. But it's that senior leadership, that one that gives the organization its vision, its direction of where it wants to go, and then allows, through use of all sorts of great practices, the people in that organization to essentially lead themselves within that context. That's where things really work. So once again, thanks for all your participation and your ideas. I think it's going great and really want to keep it up. The other thing we did last week is I was able to get back everybody's assignment to you on the schedule I had promised. It was a rush, but I think I got everybody some decent commentary. Several of you have been in contact with me about it, and most of all, what I'm very gratified is everybody sees the commentary and the type of things that I do with it as being not critical but constructive. And as I said to many people in the grading exercise, as we go forward in the course, it's going to get a little tougher each time. We're gonna ratchet it up. We're going to look at things a little bit more critically. Make sure when you're writing something that you are thinking critically about the issue. Make sure you're giving yourself enough time to get familiar with the material, and then make sure you're giving yourself enough time to organize your thoughts and put together a good, coherent written piece, because that's what's important. And yes, as I said in an earlier video, I think, and I know I said it in a couple of comments, I am going to turn into your high school English teacher a few times. Why? Simply because this is a business course, and communication skills are so critical in business today that the more you practice, the more you master them, the better off you're going to be. And by that, I want to make sure that everybody is doing both their spoken communications, which we don't get a lot of chance to do in this class, but their written communications in a professional and clear way. And one of the ways I choose to describe that to people is real simply. You're taking a course on quality and the Malcolm Baldrige principles, right? I'm teaching a course on quality and the Malcolm Baldrige principles. So between us, we sort of know what we're talking about. Well, the way I want you to look at your written work is quite simply, what if you handed that piece of paper or that screen to somebody who had no familiarity with what we've been talking about and what we've been reading? would they be able to understand it clearly, and get your point? If that's the way it can be done, then you've written a clear and well thought out piece. So let's look at it that way. Let's not leave a third party guessing what we're talking about, because we've got another one coming up this week, and I think it's going to give you a chance to again relate some of your personal experiences right into some of the reading materials and the videos and such that you'll see this week. Okay? So that transitions us into this week. And it's week 4, and by the end of this week we'll be at the halfway point. This week we're going to get into 2 concepts that I think are very important. 2 major approaches to running an organization. The stakeholder approach, the stockholder approach. Are they different? Yes, they're different. How are they different? Well, that's for you to read and find out this week and talk about a little bit. But just remember the basic thing about a stakeholder is anybody who has a material interest in how your organization or you function. Okay? Stakeholders don't necessarily have to be owners. Stakeholders can be customers, they can be employees, they can be suppliers, they can be anybody. But when you start thinking about this, remember one of the Baldrige principles you looked at was a systems approach, a systems perspective. Well, your stakeholders and your stockholders are all part of that system, and we have to be very aware of what they're doing. So, first discussion this week, we're going to look at how are your organizations managed. Are they managed by a stakeholder approach or a stockholder approach? And how are those different, if at all, in your opinion? The other one is a kind of a variation off that, but I think something that we can all relate to very well, and that's the concept of the customer, the internal customer versus the external customer. And I said versus, and maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should have said the internal customer in tandem with the external customer. See, one of the things Baldrige talks about in the principles, we talk about the voice of the customer. Well, generally when you hear that, you think about the external customer, the individual or the company that's actually paying you for your product or service. But are there other customers? Do those customers affect the quality and the utility and the value of what you do for them? By the way, do you as a leader, as a manager, affect the quality and the utility and value of what those internal customers do for you? These are very important concepts as we look at the whole question of quality systems. Okay? So, that in a nutshell is where we've been and where we're going. These are real important concepts. I really want you to take your time with them. Once again, they look on the surface very simple. Are they easy? Again, might seem so. I don't think so when you really get into it. So we want to maintain a real critical eye as you go through it and develop the ability to look for the nuances, for the subtleties, find out what's in there, and understand the critical aspects of these, keeping in mind everything we've done up to this point. Don't ignore week 1, 2, and 3 when reading and thinking and writing in week 4. It's going to all come together, and that's the way we're going to go. Okay? Please, if there's any questions, you really know, once again, and a lot of you have proven, you know where to find me. I really appreciate hearing from you. It's been great so far. Keep it up. We're building things together as we go, as I've said a bunch of times, but it's really true. So thanks for all your efforts, and I'll be talking to you again soon. Bye.